Hello everyone and welcome back to my opinion. And the Sunrisers Hyderabad have beaten the Chennai Super Kings by 8 wickets. A bit of a drubbing really. And when SRH was set 155 to win, I thought they'd find it a bit tough because of how the pitch played, especially in the last 6 overs of the CSK innings. It was a bit of a scramble for CSK to get to the 154. And also SRH, with the way they lost their previous game chasing a score. They should have won that game and they somehow didn't get over the line. And since this pitch was on the slow side as well, and I thought that this pitch was more on the slower side than SRH's previous game, than the one in SRH's previous game. And so with a CSK bowling attack that finally stood up in their previous game against a power pack Punjab Kings batting lineup, and with an SRH batting out that you wouldn't think would be the most confident at this point in time, I thought that, and add to that how the pitch was playing on this day as well, then you would have thought that CSK were in pole position to get the job done. But after a sedate start, SRH really chased this down quite comfortably. Abhishek Sharma being the star of the show, a way to silence your critics, honestly, because after the first two games, I think especially because of the price tag as well, there was some criticism. But 75 of 50, an outstanding knock from him, and he seemed to have a plan pretty much all throughout the innings. I think even with a sedate start, again, he wasn't flustered. It was his responsibility to get the innings going because Kane Williamson was scoring well below a run a ball for the entirety of his innings. And with Abhishek Sharma keeping the partnership afloat, there was quite a sizable opening partnership. And after that, Rahul Tripathi, 39 of 15 balls, outstanding from him as well. And they won this quite comfortably. And I thought the turning point in momentum was the third over of Mahesh Deekshana's of his quota. And with Abhishek Sharma, especially with the 6 he hit in the over of Mahesh Deekshana, I thought that was, from that point, there was a combination of a great running between the wickets, a few boundaries as well. And after Williamson was dismissed, Rahul Tripathi just went from ball one really. And then the boundary shots started being kind of exhibited by Rahul Tripathi and Abhishek Sharma. So a fairly comfortable win for SRH in the end, and an outstanding win for them. And a young Indian player that had come under a lot of criticism had really planned his innings out really well and served as a backbone to complete this chase. So an outstanding knock from him, an outstanding win for SRH. And for CSK, this was just a terrible loss. I mean, from all I said of the reasons why you would have thought CSK would have been in pole position to win this game with the innings break, there was just no threat in the bowling at all. After the sedate start, there was pretty much no threat, no stage in which CSK looked to be in the game. SRH played things really well, I thought, with the running between the wickets and the boundaries as well. And when the bowling got a bit more shoddy, you could say, towards the end, SRH capitalized on it, and yeah, an outstanding win for them. And for CSK, 4 games played now and 4 games lost. And regarding the starting 11s of both teams, for CSK, one change, Mahesh Deekshana in for Dwayne Pretorius. Now, I didn't mind the inclusion of Mahesh Deekshana in this game, but I think I personally thought they replaced he replaced the wrong player from the previous game, and I'm sure that statement will make more sense when I get to the CSK bowling innings. And for the Sunrisers Hyderabad, 2 changes: Shashank Singh in for Abdul Samad, and Marco Janssen in for Romario Shepherd. Meaning there'd still be, if you're looking at a lower order hitter, there would probably be a lot of pressure on Washington Sundar to deliver if they had needed him to deliver. They didn't in this game, but I guess you could also say a more pronounced bowling option in Marco Janssen. I mean, him, Bhuvneshwar Kumar, Washington Sundar, Umran Malik and Natarajan, I mean, that really looks an excellent attack. And SRH won the toss and chose to bowl first. And I thought I was a bit surprised that they did that, and I'm actually going to talk about what I thought about that more at the end of the first innings. And so Robin Uthappa, Rutraj Gaikwad got off to a mini partnership, a good start from them, 25 without loss after the first 3 overs, both of them playing some really good shots. Bhuvneshwar Kumar getting some swing early on. So was Marco Janssen, but especially the shot of Gaikwad, the cover drive of Janssen was, I thought, the shot of the CSK innings. And Robin Uthappa was dismissed off Washington Sundar trying to hit to the longer boundary, I think near the mid-wicket area, and he was caught by Aiden Markram. A good bit of bowling could say by Washington Sundar. At the same time, it was a bit of a risk, I thought, at that stage when you've got a good start trying to take on the long boundary. Yes, players these days back themselves, and I think that is the attitude that everyone kind of adopts nowadays. But at the same time, I thought, what, a 70-odd meter boundary, I just thought it's too much of a risk asking yourself to just, even if you want to back yourself, you're going really well. I just didn't think there was a necessity for him to try and clear that boundary. And yeah, he was taken in the end by Aiden Markram. Rutraj Gaikwad dismissed there soon after, a few overs later, I think a 1 point something overs later, of an excellent delivery from Natraj in the first ball of his 4-over quota, swinging in on kind of middle stump. And there's a bit of a gap between bat and pad, and Gaikwad has struggled when the ball swings, whether it would be outswing or in-swing, or it would be against the right armers or the left armers. Mostly it was Trent Bolt that really exposed this weakness, and Natarajan, the left arm, was swinging the ball in, and in the end bowled. He was bowled by Natarajan for 16 of 13. He was going really well, but once again his weakness to the moving ball exposed him in this case. And a bit of a partnership between Ambati Raidu and Moeen Ali. And CSK were 50 for 2 in 8 overs, and I thought the reason why in the next 6 overs they scored 50 runs is because apart from, there was only one bowler really that they targeted. And if you're looking at for the most part, yes, Bhuvneshwar Kumar's last over wasn't great, and that's why his recovery rate was increased to 9 and over. But apart from him, the only other bowler that they really took to was Umran Malik. The extra pace of Umran Malik was someone that they targeted, and Ambati Raidu and Moeen Ali really played him really well. And they only had to go hard off his overs. Apart from that, they gave respect to pretty much everyone else. And that's why they could kind of hold that phase of the innings afloat with a decent run rate. They scored 50 runs off the next 6 overs, until Raidu was dismissed in the 14th over when the score was at 98. And he was also dismissed trying to hit Washington Sundar, I think pretty much the same way. I didn't understand why, and there were the 2 dismissals now where they're trying to take on the longer boundary. It just didn't make sense to me. It was too much of a risk, and he was dismissed for 27 of 27. From this point onwards, there was a bit of a scrappy effort from CSK to get to 154. After so Aiden Markram was bowled, and I think it was a smart decision from Williamson to not bowl Umran Malik for his last over. Clearly, getting the spinners away like Washington Sundar was something which is proving to be difficult. And also, I just think that the extra pace that Umran Malik has in the attack compared to everyone else was something which played into CSK's favour. And so bowling Aiden Markram in that over was a good option, I thought, and it really yielded a great result. After getting the batsman that was going so well, he was 48 of 34 before he was dismissed. Actually hit a 6 off Aiden Markram before his dismissal. And again, it was kind of similar to the Faf du Plessis Vinder Chahal dismissal. He was cramped for room, and in the end he tried to go down the long on region and was caught at the fielder on the boundary rope. So that wasn't really needed for CSK. The set batsman being dismissed, probably the most fluent batsman of the innings, you could say, with 48 of 34 before his dismissal. And a bit of a scrappy effort after that from CSK. The 4th wicket fell on 108 in the penultimate ball of the 15th over. Shivam Dubey trying to use the pace of Natarajan, but he was caught, I think, a short third man by Umran Malik. It was a case where the ball was really bowled into the surface, 136 kilometers per hour, but the ball was really bowled into the surface, so he didn't really have that pace to work with, and that's why that's the shot that led to his demise. And quite scrappy to get towards the end, and I really think Bhuvneshwar Kumar's last over was quite a poor one, which helped CSK breach that 150 mark. 4 wides in that over with 1 boundary and a bunch of 2s. And yeah, I mean, he would be very disappointed with that over. I think it went for 15 runs because he had really gone well before that. And 154 for 7 for CSK, you thought that SRH had conceded a bit too much at that point, and you thought Bhuvneshwar Kumar's 15 run over just was not needed. And especially if he had bowled his last over well, then he could have it would have really done his figures a lot more justice. I think he was on 1 for 21 in his first 3 overs, I think, or none for 21 in his first 3 overs. And apart from Umran Malik, everyone else getting quite a bit of respect. Washington Sundar, another great game from him, 2 for 21 in his 4 overs. And I think it's the case for CSK. I thought would have been confident that they could get the win because of the success their bowling attack had in restricting the Punjab Kings in the previous game. And SRH just thought the pressure was on them to get over the line. And with the sedate start, you kind of thought that CSK were building that pressure. And with a roadmap of the CSK innings, after being 50 for 2 and 8 overs, they scored 50 runs of the next 6 overs and then scrapped to 54 runs of the 6 overs after that. So you thought if SRH got themselves into a bit of too much of a sedate start, maybe with how CSK scrapped towards the end. Yes, they got 54 runs, but Bhuvneshwar Kumar's 15 run over did help in that. If CSK managed a bit of pressure on SRH, then you thought with how they couldn't get over the line in their previous game, maybe that kind of thing would happen again. But after that sedate start, Abhishek Sharma in the 3rd over of Mahesh Deekshana's quota, he hit a 6 in that, and that's pretty much what changed the momentum from then on. Just went in SRH's favour, and an outstanding chase. I think that on Mahesh Deekshana, the reason why I thought it was surprising that they bought him, one, because a local frontline spinner didn't fit in their templates, and that's why they played Moeen Ali and Jadeja as their 2 finger spinners. So an overseas so buying another spinner, that too an overseas spinner, I thought that it was a bit of a surprise, considering Deekshana at this point in his career, he does seem to, especially I think he drops the ball short and does get swatted. Today he dropped the ball short once, got hit through the offside for 4. And apart from that, he maintained some good speeds though at above 90 kilometers per hour. And he did bowl quite a few deliveries, but unfortunately he bowled a few on that half volley length. Conceded a 4 over 3rd man in quite an unlucky fashion. But apart from that, kind of bowled in that half volley length and got hit for runs. You could say if you kind of withdraw that 4 that went off the outside edge, you wouldn't really say that he did too badly. But his 3rd over was the one that really set SRH on their way. There was so much responsibility on Abhishek Sharma's shoulders since the captain hadn't exactly had a great start. I thought they bowled better to Williamson than they did bowl to Abhishek Sharma, and that is the reason why where you'd have thought still 32 or 40, he could have done a bit better in making up the runs per balls ratio. But even then, they were bowling better to him than they were to Abhishek Sharma. And really, after that 3rd over, a combination of a great running between the wickets and some good boundary hitting was what put SRH in great stead to get these required runs. And towards the end, after about the halfway stage, you could say quite a few more boundaries coming towards the end, especially in that partnership between Abhishek Sharma and Rahul Tripathi, who I thought was outstanding. Because at that point, with the kind of surface that this was, you thought that if the new batsman takes a bit of time to get going, then things may have been difficult. And I think they sent Adam Markram in at number 4 in their previous game. And while Tripathi was going great guns, he scored 12 of 14 in his innings. So if they'd sent him out at number 3, maybe, then if he had just nerdled a few singles around, then maybe the CSK would have been more in the game. But Rahul Tripathi, like he did in the previous game, just providing that impetus. And today, 39 of 15 on this kind of a surface, when the game is at a stage where, with what SRH has shown in their previous game, and you still thought that CSK were in the game, and Rahul Tripathi played an innings which pretty much stamped the game as a win for SRH, along with Abhishek Sharma's brilliant 75 of 50. And yeah, I mean, outstanding innings from SRH, honestly. And maybe you could say, since in the second innings for the second half, there was it was kind of a day night game, you could say, and it was night for the second innings, and maybe the batting got slightly easier, but at the same time, I think it was because of CSK's tardy bowling in the second half of that innings. And yeah, CSK pretty much have no excuse. I thought SRH bossed the chase. And Abhishek Sharma, who pretty much had a plan with how he was going, didn't get flustered because of the sedate start. So yeah, outstanding from him. And for CSK, you have Moeen Ali, Jadeja, and Mahesh Tikshana, also Dwayne Bravo in your attack as well. And yet, you didn't really make use of the slowness of the surface at all. It was just such an easy job for SRH in the end. And about Chris Jordan, look. The reason why I thought that they replaced Dwayne Pretorius with Mahesh Tikshana, and I thought that they had they'd brought in Tikshana for the wrong player. Because I thought that if they had replaced him with Chris Jordan, it would have made a bit more sense. And if you're looking at both Umran Malik and Chris Jordan, the fastest bowlers in their sides today, they both went for runs, because I think the batting sides in both innings really made use of the extra pace that these two offered. Had Dwayne Pretorius bowled, maybe there would have been a bit more of a struggle in the middle overs, or at least would have taken longer for SRH to win the game. And that's the reason why I thought the extra pace of Chris Jordan, especially compared to everyone else that was bowling, and also for SRH as well, when you thought apart from Umran Malik, everyone else was treated with respect. I think that I wasn't exactly surprised that both those two went for runs. I thought that both batting sides would be targeting those bowlers on this kind of a surface. And that's why Dwayne Pretorius, instead of Chris Jordan, would have been the better option in my view. I know Jordan had an outstanding game in the previous game, but just by situations. I understand why they played Mahesh Tikshana, but you still have that avenue of runs in Chris Jordan that the opposition would be targeting. And they targeted him in the end. I mean, none for 34 in 3 overs. And Moeen Ali also bowling 1 over for 10 runs. And the CSK bowlers couldn't get into the game anywhere near as much as the Sunrisers Hyderabad bowlers did. You would have thought, with all the things going for them from the innings break, you'd have thought that they should have got over the line. Credit to SRH, they played outstandingly, but CSK, the bowling had no threat at all, and yeah, that's pretty much what spelt this loss for them. And really, I mean, CSK played 4, lost 4, and I'm just seeing now where apparently Fleming admitted that CSK's self-belief is shaken after the latest run. I just read that straight off Cricinfo. And I wouldn't be surprised that it is, because I mean the last time they lost 4 games in a row in a row, I think was in 2010. They won that tournament, but I don't think you can exactly sum up that with this, or compare that with this. And I thought from their previous game they had quite that bit more clarity, but instead they didn't, and it just didn't really show at all. The batting, I thought 154 was still a good score for that first innings. They scored 104 runs in their last 12 overs. And really, they should have done a better job in defending this total. Yes, SRH batted well, but for CSK, the bowling had no threat whatsoever. And you've got bowlers like Jadeja, who would enjoy bowling on more slower surfaces. And yes, he went for 7 and over, you could say, okay, under the required run rate. But the thing that SRH did was that they got more wickets throughout that middle overs period. And with the loss of wickets in the last 6 overs as well, that's what made CSK's scrap to 154 even more difficult, although they got there in the end. CSK didn't have that at all. And that's the reason why you could say that I personally thought they should have played Dwayne Pretorius instead of Chris Jordan, so that there was no case in which you could get that extra pace to work with. Mukesh Chaudhary was okay in this game, 1 for 30 in his 4 overs, a big improvement since especially his previous game. But yeah, CSK once again losing, and let's see what they do. I just think that they have quite a few questions to answer in the bowling department. Deepak Chahar, I think, returns on the 25th of April, but by then it CSK's season would probably be alive or done by then. So I don't think you can rely on his return. They have to win a few games to make sure that from when he does return, then they can get on some kind of a winning run. But it's going to be difficult. And for SRH, again, they should have won their previous game. I wouldn't really take their first game for too much because the bowling was unplayable. Anyone would have struggled with that. Rajasthan Royals' template worked in that game. The thing that didn't work in the RCB game where their death bowling was exposed for SRH, for the game against SRH, they 14 for 3 in the power play, defending 200. You've pretty much won the game then and there. And even then, their bowling in the last few overs did get exposed, but they got such a good start in their first 6, and it's exactly what KKR would be looking to do as well. As I said before, both those teams are looking to destroy the opposition before the death overs come around. And so I wouldn't really take too much from that game for the batting for the Sunrisers Hyderabad. It was a previous game which I thought that they should have got over the line. And yet they've played so well today. So really well done from them. And let's see what happens in the 2 games tomorrow. And there's another video coming up as well where I am discussing another unsurprising result with the Mumbai Indians in their 4th game of the tournament. And RCB played 4, won 3 and lost 1. So a really good start from them. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Please share this video with your friends. And remember, this is my opinion. What's yours?